Okay, in this section I am looking at the vendor funnel. This will cover both the vendor funnel and the landlord funnel because they've both got the same functionality. So I want to try and give people a bit of an understanding as to what they're looking at when they look inside this funnel and what they can do about it. In a previous video around creating content, you may remember, if you haven't already seen the video, then I'd recommend you go and watch it after this, that when you create a piece of content inside Lifecycle, you have to choose if that content applies to the awareness stage, the interest stage, the consideration stage, the intent stage, or the evaluation stage of your business. So let's just quickly run over that. Awareness content would be something whereby you're just making someone aware of your brand, but that doesn't necessarily mean that by reading it they have any interest in what you do. So that could be the 5 best restaurants in Margate, or the 3 best schools in London. Whatever it is, it's content that's probably about the local area and doesn't really necessarily mean that they're interested in using an estate agent. You've then got the stage of interest, which is probably a little bit more towards someone wouldn't read it unless they had some interest in what you do as a service, but they're probably a little bit away from being ready to sell their house or let their house or buy a house or whatever it is. So that could be the 4 things you should be thinking about if you're considering moving home in the next 2 years. To read it, you really kind of need to be considering moving home, otherwise you wouldn't really have any interest in that article. Next stage down, consideration. That would be the next stage on from that, obviously. So maybe a little bit more like they've done an instant valuation, or they've downloaded an ebook around what to do if you're thinking about selling in the next 3 months. Intent is people that are showing keen intent to actually sell or let their property. Evaluation would be people that you've done a pitch to and are actually now considering using you. And obviously one business speaks for itself down the bottom here. There's about 6,500 algorithms inside Lifecycle that help with this funnel. So I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of everything that makes up consideration, intent, evaluation, interest, and awareness. However, those articles that you create in the content section will have a big impact, certainly on this stage at the top. Who is awareness, who is interest? Things like your instant valuation tool will control a lot of who's at the stage of consideration. People that have booked appointments will control a lot of who is at the stage of intent, and people that have actually had market appraisals from you will probably control most of what's going on here at the stage of evaluation. Obviously, this is just my test account. That's why my funnel looks like a bit of a mushroom. But if this was a real, someone's real funnel, then what you'd be able to see here is that there's not really many people coming towards our company. So therefore, I would go into the content section and try to create some more stuff around the stage of awareness, the things that we spoke about before, just to try and get our brand out there. Not stuff around we're the best estate agent in the world, because that's going to have a limited audience of people that are interested in reading it. What could we write about that we're qualified to write about? So stuff about the local area or property that would have a wide-ranging reach of people that would think, I'm quite interested in that article. So it could be, here are 4 things that to do with your children in the upcoming Easter holidays. Obviously if it's the right time of year, which it is at the moment, but it might not be when you're watching this video. And then I can create that content in Lifecycle. I can push it out across my social media, my email, put it on my blog and promote it as much as possible. I could even send out leaflets with a link to the article on the leaflet. And then as people start going to that link or clicking on that link from social and reading it, what will happen is my funnel will start to expand. I'll be able to see, wow, that's really working. The awareness stage is working really well for us now. I can then start creating content around interest that we spoke about earlier, and consideration, and so on and so forth. You want to make sure that this funnel is looking healthy all the way up and down. When the market's really busy, you might find that you've got loads of money coming in down here, loads of stuff's happening, but you might have taken your eye off of the ball in terms of like things that are a little bit more long term, and vice versa. If something happens, like some sort of unpredictable virus hits the world and the market starts slowing, then it would be good to know that at least the top of the funnel is starting to fill up, so that when people come to their senses, a good amount of business is going to start flowing through. One thing to point out about this funnel is that Lifecycle will take into account where people are in the funnel. So, for instance, it is possible for you to create an awareness-based article in Lifecycle, for that awareness-based article to have 50 views and for there to be no one at the stage of awareness. The reason that would happen would be because those people are probably somewhere else lower down in the funnel. You know, if you're sitting here at the stage of intent and you click on an awareness article, we wouldn't move you up the funnel. You're still at the stage of intent. So it's just important for people to remember that the statistics in terms of who's looked at what type of article wouldn't necessarily directly relate with the shape of this funnel. The other thing that you can do from the funnel here is if there are any people inside any of these stages that are known contacts inside Lifecycle, i.e. we've got their contact details, if you were to click on that stage of the funnel, it would take you to the list of who those people actually are, and from here you could send them an SMS or send them an email or just review the details. Maybe you might want to call them up, whatever it is that you want to do with them. So that is an overview of how the funnels worked. You can see after one business, which has basically instructed us, based on the statuses being kept up to date, we can then start to keep track of which ones went on to exchange with us, which ones went on to exchange with another agent, which ones reversed back to the stage of prospect, and which ones instructed another agent and then at a later date went on to instruct us.